Airbus, fly your ideas competition.
The basic idea of the project is that an increase in the aspect ratio reduces the drag of a civil aircraft. Therefore, by incorporating a span extension, we can reduce the total drag and therefore emission.
Here are some examples of existing wing extension technology. A winglet, a raked wingtip, and the folding wing extension. But of course, on the style of aircraft that we are designing, the folding wing extension does not exist yet.
Something we had to consider when looking into the feasibility was the gate size limits in existing airports. Currently, for an A320 sized aircraft, there's a maximum wingspan allowable when parked of 36 metres. Therefore, in order to increase the span, it would be necessary to have a hinge on the aircraft.
These are the key project design drivers.
In order to quantify the feasibility of this project, we decided to develop some core tools. Now these tools are used to quantify and to qualify the aerodynamic, the structural and the general topology requirements for a hinge design. Now these were incorporated into a baseline A320 model, and this was used to then develop and to assess the feasibility of the overall design. One of the key aims of this project was to produce an aircraft that would both be feasible and realistic. So one of the key things we wanted to do is compare the folding wing extension technology to winglets, to raked wingtips and existing aircraft that are available. Obviously competitor information is not available to us for the purposes of this project. However, we made some assumptions, and our decisions that we made were based upon the feasibility we thought of bringing this design to the market right now.
From the initial global input into our tools of the span extension, it is important that all the tools run together coherently to produce the desired global outputs, which are the cash operating costs and the fuel burn of our aircraft. It is therefore important that each tool links to the other tool with regards to the corresponding inputs and outputs. From this, we have created a loop of the tools that allows them all to run coherently from the start to the finish, based on going from the initial global input of span extension running all the way through to the end, through to the fuel burn and the cash operating costs. Here is an example of the project tools loop that we have developed, running from the global inputs through to the global outputs.
Combining the design decisions we made in this project allowed us to come up with a feasible concept for the folding hinge extension.
One of the most important aspects coming out of this project is the fuel burn reduction that we can get from a wingspan extension. Of course, one of the other benefits of a decreased fuel burn is the decreased emissions you get from the aircraft. Of course, these key emissions being carbon dioxide, NOx and other various pollutants. One of the main downsides of aircraft emissions is the fact that they are emitted at such a high altitude, which, even though they are only a small proportion of the world's global CO2 and other bad emissions, the high altitude aspect is such a major problem. With the span extension that we are incorporating onto our aircraft, we can reduce these emissions sometimes quite significantly, which is of course such a major benefit not only for airlines but for the globe.
Shown is an example of one of the concepts we have developed.
Hopefully some of the design suggestions we've given will really help to inform Airbus about this area, and if everything goes well and Airbus think it's good, then it can be adopted as a design in the future. My favourite part of the project is the design down selection, because I think we came up with some really innovative ideas. Although the design we set in the end was quite a simple functional design, some of the things we got to come up with and the discussions we had were really interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed working in a team with you guys.
I thought the FYI was fantastic. We got a chance to showcase our abilities and talents in working our individual work, whilst at the same time we got the ability to work together as a team fantastically.